Hi everyone, and welcome back to Stamp with Anna. I am very excited today. Today is September 1st and there are three big things happening today. First and foremost, the Holiday 2017 catalog goes live. So you are now able to purchase the great products that are in this catalog. And I am now able to show you the inside of the catalog instead of just the projects I've made and the cover of the catalog. That's the first thing that today is. The second thing that today is the first of the month, so that means it's the Blogging Friends Blog Hop. And this month's theme was the holiday catalog. So we get to make something out of the holiday catalog for the Blog Hop. And the third reason that it's a great day is that it is the first day of my September series on my blog, which is Christmas in September. So each day in September, even Saturdays and Sundays, I will be posting some Christmas cards. Some are going to be made with Christmas stamps. Some are going to be made with stamp sets and dies that aren't Christmas, but we can make them Christmassy. So I hope that you'll join me during the month of September and get some ideas so you can get a head start on your Christmas cards. So without further ado, the stamp set that I chose is the first one that shows up in the catalog, and it is called Christmas Quilt. It's part of a quilted Christmas suite, which, as you can see here, has tons of possibility. It has the stamp set where you can put together a quilt. It has coordinating frames, and it is bundled, so you get a 10% discount if you buy the two together. But then it also has some coordinating ribbon, some designer series paper, some great felt embellishments, and it even has this embossing folder that looks like a quilt. And they've also put together a cardstock pack so that you can get the cardstock that is in this, the solid cardstock that coordinates with the pattern in the designer series paper. And the colors are lemon lime twist, garden green, and rose red, which when you first look at lemon lime twist, you don't think Christmas, but trust me, I've made a few cards with it already, and I think it's just wonderful. So this is a great set, and I will be using this set for 3 days in September for my Christmas in September. And I will be using it as you normally would. You see it and you think quilt, and I'll also be using it in a different way as well, where you don't think quilt. So let me show you the card we'll be making today. I wanted to again go with a rustic card. I didn't want to go with glitzy, even though I do love bling. I decided to go with something rustic looking for this card. So I chose this design. And these papers here are from an old designer series pack. I am determined to use up the designer series paper that I have. I am just determined to use it. So although I could have used these papers, I wanted to finish up what I already have. So I used the Trim the Tree set, and there were 3 separate papers that I used. This one here is Crumb Cake with a white snowflake. This is Crumb Cake with green dots. This is Garden Green with some bubbly type things. And this is Garden Green with some Crumb Cake stars. And then I've used some Cherry Cobbler and some Garden Green to pull it all together. And this great big ribbon, it's also in Cherry Cobbler. And I did my sentiment from the Teeny Tiny Wishes, which I'm just absolutely loving. But let me show you, this stamp set does have some sentiments. When life gives you scraps, make a quilt. That'd be great for a non-holiday Christmas card. You can just use that for a regular card. And then it has Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. And it also has Peace, which is non-denominational, and which is why I really like it. But look at the dies. 15 dies. Isn't that great? Some of them will actually, as well as cut, these will cut. And then this one here, if you put it in there, it will just make stitch marks for you. So it's so cool, as well as this one. This one makes stitch marks. But I'll show you that in another card. Today we're going to use these two, which nest beautifully. Isn't that great? And then this one here, obviously, it's a square, so it's going to work with your layering squares, which is another added bonus. So let's get started. Let me show you. There is a lot of piecing to this card, I'll be honest with you. But once you get the hang of it, piece of cake. So we need, our background is crumb cake, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. Then we have our card front in garden green, 4 by 5 1/4. And then this cherry cobbler mat is 3 3/8 by 3 3/8. And, oh, I forgot to cut this one. This piece is, I think it's 3 1/4. Yes, 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. And then we need a scrap of cherry cobbler, just large enough to be able to die cut this out of it. So what I did, I picked my 4 papers, and this is one of them. So what I did was I ran this through. Now obviously I only needed 2 of these, and this gives me 8. So with one pass I can make 4 cards. So I did that. I ran that through. I have all of my cards lined up over here. I did that. I ran all my 4 pieces up through that. And then I also did it in order to get this frame, I ran it through in cherry cobbler. And that's what I'm going to show you first. I'm going to go run this through the machine and I'll be right back. Okay, I am back with my die cut. And when you die cut this through the machine, this is what you get when you do these together. And then these all pop out. And of course you can save these and use the solid colors for yet another quilt. And here is my background. I'm going to save all those little quilt pieces there. Okay. So the first thing we need to do is I need my silicone mat. And I highly recommend the fine tip glue pen for this. And here's my quilt background. And here's my fine tip glue. And I'm going to put a small layer of glue along all of the pieces because I don't want anything coming up. And you just need a tiny, tiny bit. You don't need much at all. And because this tip is so thin, it works beautifully. And then, of course, once you're done, you need to close that pin right up. We're going to take this and we're going to center it on our piece of designer series paper right here. And press that down, center it up a little bit, and press that down. Now we're ready to put our quilt together. And you'll see in my sample that I alternated between crumb cake and greens. You could certainly use more than 4 patterns. I just happened to use 4 and kept the colors together. So when I came up with my pattern, before I glued anything down, I came around and I just give it a dry run. I have all my little pieces here. They're all over the place. So I'm going to do that, and I will come back once everything is put together so that you can see it, and then I'll glue it down. I had to change my design up a little bit because I ran out of one of my designer series papers. so I couldn't finish cutting all the pieces. So I'm going to replace this polka dot piece with this here. So I wanted to show you here. I cut it through, I ran it through, and again, you can see that you can get, if I'm using 2 of each one, I can get 4 cards out of this great, and you can even use that. Is that great or what? Oh, God, I use that word a lot. So I'm going to place these in here. Move that one out. Place this right here, and then one right there. And then I'm going to go around and fill in my other pieces here. And this one goes here. Now when you cut them out, you'll see that they're not all the same. See, these are going in opposite directions, so you do need to run it through as a whole so that you have enough of the pieces going in the right direction, if that makes any sense. Okay, so and then we need some snowflakes. And another snowflake right there. And I'm missing something. I'm missing my snowflake right there. And I need this piece right here. So I have 4 of these, 4 of those. And now I have 4 of these. I'm going to see what I want to change up, but I don't think I'm going to change anything. I kind of like that just the way it is. So I'm going to get my glue pen and I'm going to start gluing these down. Okay, so now I have my quilt all made. Now I'm going to mount this onto my 3 3/8 square. It is a lot of piecing together, but once you come up with a pattern, especially if you are making 4 because you have enough for 4, it does go really quickly. And now I'm going to put that on my card base of garden green. And then before I attach this onto my card base, I'm going to stamp my sentiment, which is Merry Christmas from the Teeny Tiny Wishes. Stamp that right there. And I'm also going to add my bow. Now this is a bulky ribbon, and I didn't want it to be too bulky working with it. So what I did was I made a fake bow and cut a long piece of that, and I thought I had a short piece cut. Then another piece that's a little shorter. And I'm going to put the long piece vertically, the short piece horizontally. And then I'm going to come in and tie a knot. And when I turn it over, there's my fake bow. Okay. I'm going to put some adhesive on the back here, because I want my bow to stick nicely. I center that. And now I'm going to trim my tails. It is a really big ribbon, but I kind of like the look of it on this card. And now all we have to do is attach that to our card base. And there we go. There's our beautiful quilted Christmas card. And they do look a little different with the pop of white in this one. Like I said, I ran out of that polka dotted one. I was a little upset because I really wanted that one. So we'll have to just make do. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed this, and come back tomorrow when I'll do another stamp set, another Christmas card with this stamp set. If you have a project or any of the products, if you have any questions about this project or any of the products I've used, please contact me through my website, www.stampwithanna.blogspot.com.